Thank you. Well, hello. I'm going to talk about what we can learn from sports and arts professionals to help us perform at our best. And given it is still relatively early in the new year, I thought I'd focus on 3 areas which some of us may be thinking about. One area would be a technique to help us in job interviews, a philosophy around resolution and goals, and lastly, some ideas for motivation to get us into gear. But first of all, I'm going to give a definition of peak performance, which is really when someone performs at their best, whether emotionally, mentally, or physically, in a performance environment. So when you're being judged by someone or when you're talking in front of people, this is a performance environment. And psychologists and coaches spend a lot of time working with sports and arts professionals to do this. If you take an example of the average sports professional's career, they'll spend 40 to 60 hours a week training for peak performance periods of 30 minutes to 6 hours a week. So if you compare this to the average career professional who's not yet had their big idea or sold it, we will have minimal training comparatively a week, but we're actually expected to perform 40 to 60 hours a week, mostly at our best. So there's a lot we can take away in terms of training from these different arenas, which I'm going to talk about now. And the first area I'm going to talk about is an approach for goals and resolutions. Because if you look at athletes, they tend to focus predominantly on goal process as opposed to goal outcome when they're trying to achieve something. So if you look at this, a competitive runner would focus on their technique and how they run, the body movement to achieve that personal best, as opposed to thinking about the actual beating of competitors, which is often out of their control. It means they're focusing on the present as opposed to the past or future. They're making every moment count. And there's actually evidence to support this is beneficial performance. If you look at an example about how we can apply it to us, a common New Year's resolution is around finance and managing our money better. So a goal process would be living day by day, trying to do more with less, as opposed to focusing on saving a lump sum that you're going to spend, say, on a holiday in 3 months. It keeps us in the present, we don't wish our life away, and we make it a daily habit. Musicians do a lot with mental practice. This is not daydreaming, this is actually a technique which helps you mentally rehearse for an event in the future. And if you look at some examples of research, there's actually evidence to demonstrate that if you apply mental practice plus physical practice, as in you're practicing, say, thinking about piano practice and actually doing it, it's more effective than either doing both solo. It's more powerful as a combination. So how you might apply this, it's very good for goals and in trying to achieve goals. It's also very good for things like public speaking. But actually, in a job interview, University of Florida came back with some research which showed that candidates who'd actually done mental practice, going in interview, did better than those who didn't, and they also felt more confident. So here are also some ideas on motivation, which actually comes from elite athletes across a multitude of sports who served their country internationally. And they were asked, what is it that is essential for great performance with you and mental toughness? And they came back with, well, 12 characteristics, but actually the top 3 were self-belief in themselves, self-belief in their ability to beat others, and also this incredible, insatiable desire to win. And they were then asked, well, what is it that created these attributes? Why? And they came back with these ideas. Vision was essential, and clarity of goals. So goals which they came back to time and time again. It kept them on track. It kept them motivated when they saw progress, but more importantly, when they fell off a path and felt less motivated, they got back on track. Community tied into this as well. Communicating vision and goals with community was essential, but also they wanted open, supportive people around them as opposed to pushy people who told them what to do, so non-managerial. That was very unmotivating. Role models were essential and important. People they could emulate, people who were passionate, who were prepared to share insights and actually really demonstrated the fact they were confident and loved what they did. And this was very essential just in their formative years and as they got older. This is something that's not talked about a lot necessarily in corporate circles, but competitive rivalry was very motivating for them because it meant that they really pushed limits and boundaries with their peers and their colleagues, and it provided a safe environment for to practice within. They also mentioned reflection and acknowledgement of skills achieved. So reflection on what they did, what worked and what didn't, and acknowledging when something was well done and when they'd achieved something, and it was also essential to be acknowledged by those around them. So thanks very much this evening. I hope you got some ideas. And I will see you at the bar for a drink now. Thanks very much. Bye.